welcome to North Georgia Now. Today is Thursday. This week is a little bit weird because this morning I'm thinking, well, Hannah will be here today because it's Hannah's day. Hannah's not here. Miss Jennifer's here again today. Now, how is Jennifer doing? All she's doing to finish that special about the miners, writing music, and being here today. She's only supposed to be here a couple of days. I think the holiday kind of goofed us up.
Yeah, I think so. I haven't seen you in a week.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. It's kind of weird. Listen to you. I brought you lunch. Do you know what I brought you? I planted, I hoed, I fertilized, I worked so hard.
You worked out, yeah,
no,
I believe that.
You know better than that. That would require sweating.
You don't even cut your own grass.
I don't. My child raised cucumbers, tomatoes, corn, potatoes, onions, cabbage, you name it. She thinks she is old McDonald. I swear. The girl runs around in overalls and boots, and it's funny. She's like her mama, hates snakes. Well, she was wearing the flip-flops down to the garden until about a week ago when the big snake arrived. And when the big snake arrived, now she's funny. She wears Daisy Dukes and boots to the garden. So it's too cool.
You know snakes are indoors, too.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are. Miss Cooter has snakes indoors. Yes, she does. But today, we're going to make you an over-the-sink tomato sandwich.
Oh, where's Randy? Our bass singer loves that.
Exactly. He loved that. I introduced your bass singer to the two finest things in a Southern home. Nothing any better than sweet tea.
And a Southern woman.
A Southern woman, that's right. And his wife's not Southern, is she? But she's sweet as she can
Mine
be.
is.
That's right, yours is.
That's what I was
And then a tomato sandwich featuring Cherie Martin's mayonnaise. Now, we're not going to say the name, but we will say, if you can call us at 866-939-2329, you're going to win a Bill Siniard and First Mountain City CD in honor of the singing this weekend up in Fannin County. Bill's group will be there. First Mountain City has been together 11 years. Is that about right?
Something like that.
Yeah.
I lose count. We're so old.
You know, these guys have grown up together, and they will be singing for you Saturday night along with the Gentrys, the Kaler family, my love the Kalers, the Promise Quartet.
The Hood family.
The Hood family, and Chris is coming off of much-needed medical rest for his throat. So the Promise Quartet has not been singing much in public, so this will be a great opportunity for you to once again see the Promise Quartet. We'll be there up front and center doing a little meet and greet. The motorhome will be there because it's going to be hot that day. And I'm going to be in the air conditioning until it's time to go inside.
Sure you will.
I'm sure I will be. But it's going to be a great time for us to get to meet and greet you. We're going to do some giveaways. We've got some really cool ETC chairs like you would take to ball games and things like that.
Somebody just guessed your mayonnaise.
What did they guess?
Blue plate.
Blue plate. You got that right. Who guessed it? And you know, if this earpiece would stay in my ear, I believe this is a foreign object, and it doesn't mean to stay in my ear today.
You got too much wax buildup.
No, I ain't got no wax. Let's talk about wax in the ears. Has anybody, Ruby Boers knew that Blue Plate mayonnaise, obviously, is my brand, and y'all will love this. Today when we make this sandwich, I filled up my grandmother's salt and pepper shaker. Now, does Melissa treasure little things that belong to people she loves?
Yeah, she does, and she still got some of that.
Yeah. That is a very special thing to me. I have a bowl that was my great-great-grandmother's, and I make biscuits out of that bowl quite often.
You never have a fear of dropping it and breaking it?
Well, actually, one of those bowls that matches this set fell out of the dish drainer. Now, there's a reason we have safety glass, and it cut Dawn's main artery to her ankle.
Ooh.
And they said when we got her to the hospital, she was seconds away from being out of here because of the blood loss.
Wow.
And it was because these dishes back in the 30s were not made with safety glass.
Right.
And there's a lot of things are different today because of lessons that we learned.
True.
But those antique dishes, when my grandmother bought Louisiana tea, she got these dishes. Now, have y'all ever smelled Louisiana tea? Oh, it's so disgusting.
Oh, come on.
My grandmother
loved
it. Well, my grandmother loved it. It had chicory in it. Now, what is chicory?
I don't know.
I always thought it was something that fell off the tree or something the dog licked and threw in it. I never knew what chicory was.
It's kin to dickory and dock.
Okay, well, chicory is in Louisiana coffee, and my grandmother had these green dishes because of the Louisiana coffee. I collect jewel tea dishes because the jewel tea man, do you remember that? The man coming around to your home selling jewel tea products?
No, I'm not that old. I do
Yes,
remember
you
milk.
are.
They used to bring milk to
Okay.
the door.
Well, they brought Jewel tea products, and I also collect Jewel tea dishes. Yesterday, for the bargain basement price of $20, Kathy bought me a dish that belonged to Miss Janie Whitfield. And it is a grease, you know how you save your bacon grease to make
Yeah,
your gravy
yeah.
later? It's the little grease pot that you used for Jewel tea. Now, I kind of looked it up online last night, and that price was a little bit high. So when I pass on, I want my children to have a big estate sale.
Oh, they
But I
will.
want them, listen, y'all, and I'm telling my kids right now, right up front, in front of God and everybody, price that stuff reasonable. Don't price it like you're in an antique shop, and don't think you're at Saks Fifth Avenue, you know, because in reality, I'll be dead and gone, and that stuff needs to go somewhere.
Are you putting your wig in there too?
Yeah, oh yeah, this is not a wig. But anyway, I treasure little things that belong to people who meant a lot to me. So now I own a Janie Whitfield little bowl. Thank you very much, Kathy, I love it. But kids, when you price your mama's stuff and mama's gone, and you choose the few pieces you want to keep, you can't keep it all.
There'll be some fighting going on, I can see.
Well, I have gone around and marked some names on backs of things that I know certain kids would love to have.
That's what erasers are for.
And then the rest, that's true. And then the rest of that stuff, just get rid of it. Just get rid of it, because I've collected Coca-Cola.
Yes, you
and
have.
a lot of my Coca-Cola stuff is going on eBay right now. We are pumping out the Coca-Cola stuff. You know, you can't keep but so much of this stuff. And then
tried.
your house begins to look like
A shrine.
a flea market. Not a shrine, a flea market. So I'm getting rid of a lot of stuff, and eBay's a good way to do it.
Right.
Trading Time is a
Trading Time.
great way to do it. Craigslist makes me nervous.
I've never used it. I mean,
Well,
I've looked at it, never used it.
we tried Craigslist, and to be honest with you, I don't know that we've sold anything off Craigslist. It makes me nervous because I've had some weird phone calls from people when you list stuff on Craigslist, so that made me a little nervous. I think that's why Trading Time has been so successful.
Right.
When you call, 99% of the time, you go say, "Oh, Linda, is that you? Oh,
Yeah,
how are
they're
you?"
local
And you
people.
end up having a conversation with somebody.
Yeah.
And then you feel, a guy showed up at our house like 20 minutes after we put something on Trading Time
amazing.
and bought something.
Yeah.
So you feel comfortable
It's a
doing that
local
Trading Time
exchange.
thing. Exactly. And I think eBay is a little bit pricey. It is,
Well, it depends on what you're looking for.
well, no, I mean a little bit pricey to do your listings.
Oh.
You know, because if you do a picture, it's this, and if you do this, it's this, and if you do this, it's this, and by the time you get to the bottom, okay, you got to add $10 to the cost of what you're
Right.
selling. So Trading Time has given us an opportunity, and you'll see some of my Coca-Cola items on Trading Time too, because I am no longer collecting this junk. I'm going to get
You're
rid of
kidding.
it. I'm getting rid
Oh,
of this
about
junk.
your John Deere and your Dale Earnhardt stuff?
Getting rid of a lot of my Earnhardt stuff, and I will tell y'all, if you are Dale Earnhardt fans, I have some stuff from
She's
the
got it.
early 90s. I have some amazing things that we are going to start marketing, because I realized when you're gone, it is a burden to your children to say, well, Mama loved this, we can't get rid of this. 5 things I really, really love. My great-great-grandmother's butter dish and spoon holder. My Jewel tea dishes I do treasure. My quilts I absolutely do treasure. And the painting that Larry Dodson did for me. Those things I treasure.
What
The
about your
rest of
dog?
that stuff, oh, the dog, no. Dozy. No, Dozy's a good dog. No, but
Sprung that one on
I
you.
have learned to place value on people.
Yeah.
And not that stuff.
Yeah,
Not that stuff.
that's a good
Because
way to
I
look at
used
it.
to be on a mission, and I was going to have it all. Well, when you get it all, where are you going to put it?
You can have a warehouse.
Yeah. Where are you going to put all
Climate
that junk? So I am starting a process of elimination.
Good for you.
And I think it's
I'm
going to
proud
be
of you.
cool. I think it's going to be cool. You know what started it? When we cleaned out that building to do Angela's show, Angela's Benefit, all of a sudden I realized, man, I had a lot of junk in here. So we took a lot of it up to McKaysville. We've sold some of it. It's all coming back now, and it's going on different avenues, Trading Time being one of them.
Well,
so
some of your junk's pretty good.
some of my junk is excellent. Some of my junk is excellent. Some of my junk's just junk. But,
I was told to tell you that you're one of your favorite singers of all time, George Jones,
yeah.
and Darrell Waltrip
Yes.
race car
Now,
driver.
Darrell Waltrip, let's ask a question. Darrell Waltrip is now doing something else about racing. Let's ask that question. He used to drive the big car, and he used to drive the big car. Now he does something else. Call us, and you will win another of First Mountain City CDs. If you can tell me, what does Darrell Waltrip do now? Is he a janitor over at the local city hall? Is he in marketing? What does Darrell Waltrip do now?
A janitor.
And what his brother does now is not win. His brother won Daytona the year that Dale Earnhardt Sr. passed away, but his brother has not had many wins lately. So I don't know what's going on with him. But I've got to say, last week when number three, the Wrangler car, won at the Daytona track. Did your daddy watch racing?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
He's worse than you are.
I'm in Tennessee, and I looked down at my phone, and there were very few places that we could get calls, but I could get text for some weird reason. And somebody texted me number three's car in the pits at Daytona. And I looked at that, and I said, how cool is this? To see that Wrangler car there, and I still have a Wrangler car.
Sports commentator.
He is absolutely a sports commentator, and he's the one that goes boogity, boogity, boogity. And he has that little, is it a gopher? What is that thing that pops up?
I don't know. I don't watch it.
You don't watch racing? Your daddy did not do a very good job with you.
Well, my mama did.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you sit and watch
give her-
soaps with your wife?
No, I don't do that either. No.
Yeah,
No.
right.
What's the difference? I mean, NASCAR's a soap opera on
You
wheels.
turn left.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true.
And all
but
it is fuss and fight don't get along.
Well, that's true too.
Well,
Hush now.
what's the difference?
Mike Russell knew that is, yeah, he is a commentator. And, you know, that's pretty cool to get out of that car where you're sweating and y'all, they can't go to the bathroom for 4 hours.
Oh,
There ain't
that's
no way to
terrible.
stop and have a pit stop.
For that kind of
You
money,
get it?
I'd wet on myself too. I really would. A dozen
But anyway,
times.
Darrell Waltrip is like one of the many race car drivers who come out of the car and go behind the mic and get a job. So it's pretty cool.
Yep. It
Now
is
today
cool.
your job's going to be better because you are going to get to eat a tomato sandwich.
Yeah.
Yesterday was a
guess.
really good day, and we're going to give away some more coupons from Chick-fil-A. Tomorrow, they're going to have Customer Appreciation Day here at our local Chick-fil-A. I'm going to give you
Wow.
4 coupons for sandwiches. So there, you can take a family of 4, buy your sandwich, get your sandwich free, buy you some waffle fries and a drink, and you've got it made. So if you can tell me,
Eat more chicken.
what is a good question about Daytona?
What state is it in?
Yeah, that's really easy. That's kind of a loaded question.
You'd be surprised how many people don't know that.
Oh, come on.
Hey, I know people that don't even know
Come
where,
on.
they can't even tell you on the map where Atlanta or Washington, D.C. is.
You are kidding
No,
me.
I've met them.
Oh, my gosh.
Done.
Well, y'all, we need to get y'all enrolled in the GED program. So there you
I'm
go.
not sure that'll help them.
If you can call and tell me what months of the year are the 2 Daytona races,
I know one of them.
that'll be a good question. Tell me the 2 months of the year that we race Daytona. Daytona is the big deal in racing. When you win Daytona.
Like you race it?
No, but I'd love to. God, I'd love to
would.
go around the track one time, just one time. Reckon we could go with the motorhome. Do you think it could hang those
No.
curves?
It's too bad 515 don't have curves because you do ever get
I
at that speed
know.
on the
Now, what is that you
515.
call me?
The little old lady from 515.
Yes, it is. February and July is Daytona racing time. Today, we're going to race through finances. I can tell you, trucking is busier than ever.
Well, why is that?
I hope, oh God, I pray that it means manufacturing is coming back. And I have some good news. Yesterday, we announced that there was a job fair across the street taking some job applications, and one of our viewers got a job. So she got a forklift job operator.
Can't beat
okay.
that. I mean,
Think
that's
about
great.
it. Women didn't used to do things like
No.
that.
No.
She got a forklift job operator.
Those are fun to drive.
Well, let me tell you, when
They are.
Nicholas Martin was a little bitty boy, he called it a cornmeal. Now, why? I have no idea. I guess it was 2 simple words, and he heard us say, get on the forklift, take the forklift, load it with the forklift. And so, for some weird reason, he called it a cornmeal. And one day when he was about 4 years old, we had heard this kid say cornmeal, cornmeal. And I'm like, what is he talking about for 2 years? And
put the
then
two
he
together.
runs out and jumps on the back of the forklift and says, Cornmeal Drive. And I said, oh my gosh, I finally figured it out. But years ago, women would not be driving a forklift. And today, a lady who watches our program got a job.
Well, when
so
I was a kid,
awesome.
none of them drove school buses either, but they do now.
And Miss Jan Beavers knew the answer to the last question, and she won 4 coupons to Chick-fil-A. So go by and get to know them. Now I want to say something about the Pickens County Progress. First of all, I want to say something about the Pickens County Sheriff's Department. We talked about this a little bit last week. When the David Collins Memorial Interchange was dedicated last week, when I came out of Gilmer County and approached the intersection, traffic was dead standstill. They had markers, cones up. Donnie Craig's crew was amazing. They were organized, they were together, they were in full uniform. They stood at a honorary, just standing there. It was so cool. They directed traffic. People on the interstate stopped, and I want you to pick up a copy if you've never bought if you've never bought a Pickens County Progress, this is the week. I want you to buy this little newspaper and get to know something about the folks who produce it. I hope to have the folks from the Progress on here one day. This is family generations, like 4th, 5th generation. Overdue honor now in place for fallen soldier David Collins, and this is David's children. His children were, James was like 7 months old when Dad died, and Elizabeth was about 2. So very, very young when they lost their daddy. But if you have not picked up a copy of the Progress, then you need to.
I got mine yesterday.
You need to, yeah, absolutely. What an amazing, amazing turnout, what an amazing group of people, and you know, the riders who came and paid tribute to them, every single one of them stood there and held a flag. And Charlene and I walked around and spoke to each and every one of them and thanked them. Thank you to every person who had anything to do with that. But a big, big special thank you to the Progress, and get to know the folks who run the Progress. Nice, nice folks. You know, my late father-in-law worked at the Progress as I believe he was a typesetter, and made about $30 a week, I think, something.
Wow.
Loved that job. He loved that job.
Speaking of flags, we were at an event at a place, I won't name it because I don't want to embarrass them, but we got some little flags handed to us the other day to wave, you know. We got them all, our whole family got one. When we looked at the flag and it said on it, made in China. American flag.
They all are. Yeah, they all are. If you look at them, you know,
that's so sad.
We brought that up when we were doing the tribute to David Collins, and we put up all the yellow ribbons because I went to local chain store and bought every single American flag I could find. And then we looked on the packages, and every single one of them said made in China. So there you go.
If there's anything else they want to make in China, it's
American. Buy American.
Buy
American. How many more times do I need to say it?
It makes me want to hurt myself.
Buy American. Right now we're going to take a break, go to our sponsors. We're going to talk to Paul Kiker about what is happening in America today. Trucking is very, very busy. Today, there are some manufacturing jobs coming back. We have got to bring back more because I'm still noticing y'all are not spending, you are not comfortable, you don't feel safe yet. If you are a truck driver with a CDL, there's so many jobs available. We hope it is not a one-time quarterly thing. We hope that trucking is back for good. The only problem being, here's the trucking, here's the fuel. So, so we can't make it work yet, and it is so tough. And we are running today. We will be running for rates that we ran when fuel was $57.9.
Yeah.
So trucking companies who have survived get a big way to go because Larry Lance, perfect example, he's still in business, employs quite a few people. He's been here 50 years, I guess, you know. Bandy up in Blue Ridge, they've been here a long, long time. The ones who have made it have made it by giving it up. It means giving up any profit, giving up any benefits for yourself, giving up any time off. In order to make it in trucking today, you gave it up because there is nothing left. When the fuel goes in the tanks, you're done. The money's gone.
And a lot of other businesses the same way. They've had to give it up.
Yeah.
Really have.
But you make a decision.
Sacrifice.
Do you want to stay in business and hope that we come out of this and hope that they find some oil somewhere that is a reasonable price?
Not under the water.
No, they're not doing well with that. That's all we're going to say. But if you can hold on, And maybe we're coming out of this, and we're going to talk to Paul Kiker about it. I haven't looked at the stock market in 2 weeks.
I hadn't looked at it in 2 years.
When it did its fall about 2 weeks ago, it dropped about 300 points in a day. I kind of said, okay, and I left it alone. But I hope the roads are full. People are buying gas. Gas was down to $2.57.9. Now, imagine that. I just said the dumbest thing. Gas was down to $2.57.9. It had been up to $2.67 for 3 days.
Still too high.
Very high.
Very high.
When you get it to $187, I'll be jumping on this table shouting.
87.
It's never going to happen in our
87.
lifetime. No, it's not.
That's where it needs to be. You'll make a profit.
We're going to talk to Paul Kiker when we come back from our break, and we're going to learn a little bit more about trading time and Rich Scott. And then today is a day I hoped would happen. I have prayed this would happen.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, you're here, and you didn't lay out today. There are two very, very special people here with me. Grady and Mary have been married 61 years. Last week I asked if there's anybody out there who's been married 60 years or more, I would like to interview you. The next couple we're going to interview is Papa Jack and Joyce Bryson. Now, they will just be hitting 60 in a couple of months, but I think we need to honor them too. If you have been married over 65 years, I know a couple in Ball Ground that was married 70 years. I really want to talk to you. I really want to interview you. I want to know what made it last. Was it love at first sight? Was it love forever? Do you tell them you love them every day? What made it last when today you have drive-through weddings and drive-through divorces? So I want to know, what is the staying power? And then you're going to get
pan and rolling pin.
You're going to get a tomato sandwich today. You're going to get an over-the-sink tomato sandwich. Why is it called over the sink?
We don't have a sink in here.
I know it. We're going to have to put a napkin under them because it's so dadgum messy. And you wrap it, get that blue plate on that bread, and then you bite into it, and that juice from that tomato. Oh, it's
Is that low-fat mayonnaise? There goes my diet.
Full of fat, and it is so good. It's so good. You cannot take the fat out of blue plate.
I got to skip
good.
lunch today.
That's good. This is lunch. Melissa, don't fix me lunch, sugar. We are also going to share a great recipe with you. We will be putting this recipe up on our graphics, and we'll give you time to write it down. You will see everybody has lots of cucumbers this year. And I was told years ago that even a hog won't eat a cucumber. Well, let me tell you what you do with an abundance of cucumbers. My cousin Gail Ray makes the best relish. I had it on a hot dog when we went camping this weekend. Camping, my idea of camping. Yeah, y'all know the difference in that.
Yeah, Holiday Inn.
Yeah. But she made this awesome relish, and we're going to share this recipe with you, and I'm going to show you what a jar of it should look like. You can't blend it up in a blender because it turns the cucumbers to mush. You have to chop it. But man, is it good. It is so good. So we're going to share that recipe with you. We're going to give you a tip or two about making yourself an over-the-sink tomato sandwich. And then we're going to watch Bill chow down on one. So we'll be back in just a couple of minutes with Paul Kiker, and then Mary and Grady are here. 61 years of probably being very happy, all of that 61 years. Knowing them, I would say they were very, very happy. We'll be back in just a minute. Bill, thank you for that gum. I put the gum in behind my earpiece, and now it's holding it in there.
Why you can't hear.
Thank you. That's so sweet. Well, we're welcoming Paul Kiker. Once a month, we either get really upbeat, really positive, or we get a little bit sad. I am seeing some good things happening, and we got to talk about. There's a big buzz in Jasper because everybody says, oh my gosh, Paul Kiker has gotten filthy rich this year because what's going on with your building?
Oh, well, I purchased that building, which was a phenomenal deal, so believe me, it didn't take very much to be able to do that. But right
you
after I moved in.
You actually purchased it at $135,000 less than the third time ago it was purchased.
Actually, it was probably a little bit more than that.
Amazed me at the deal you got.
Right.
You stole it.
Which everybody asked me.
That's what's happening in real estate today. People are stealing things.
Well, you know, the most interesting thing was not so much the purchase price that made me so happy about it was the rate that I was able to get for a long period of time.
Right.
And that's what's really important about it. But as I told everybody, you know, your head goes on the chopping block whenever you make an investment decision. But we needed the office space. I had outgrown the other building. When I bought the other building, it was the cheapest place in Jasper at the time.
Right. And it was kind of needed some work.
It needed a lot of work to do what we needed. So we went 1,100
Right.
square feet, 2,500 square feet, basically the same price. So the funny thing was yesterday I'm sitting in my office and I'm having a meeting with somebody and the table's bouncing. Well, it's the construction that's taking place behind it. One of the reasons why I got such a great deal on the property was because they had sold the lot behind to the eye doctor,
Gilbert James.
I want
Right.
to call him James Gilbert. But it's Gilbert
Why
James.
didn't you buy that lot behind yourself?
Didn't have an option.
Oh.
Because it had already been sold. I guess he bought it
Okay.
maybe 2 years ago.
Okay.
And,
Because I thought that was weird. I thought it was all yours, and I kept saying, what does Paul need with all that stuff back there?
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
you
So-
know, me and half of Jasper has said that.
Yeah, and that's what I said. I set my office staff down. He's been unreachable here for the past week or two, and I wanted to say, please put a sign up that says it is
Yeah, eye
Jasper
clinic.
Eye Clinic, whatever
Yeah.
the name of his business is.
Yeah.
So that's not us.
Yeah.
And I'm having
It
to
is
tolerate
funny.
through the
It is-
construction
it
right
is
behind
funny
us.
Because a lot of people are going, oh, wow.
What's wrong with him?
What's going
Yeah.
on? You know,
So
yeah.
first of all,
He's been renting for years, though, down the road.
He has.
Just,
He
you know, and
has.
paying rent for at least 15 years. So
I
now
guess,
he
yeah.
will own his own place.
Yes, so he'll be right behind, be great neighbors, and we're going to try to tie our parking lots in together there. So it'll be something that'll be beneficial for him. And right now, you know, if you're a business and you've been renting in the situation that he has, and I don't know all of his situation, I'm just, you know, talking theoretically. You know, it's a great time to be able to take advantage
Yeah.
of, you know, it'll provide jobs, rates are in great shape, and if you can acquire a piece of property and build, it's a great time to be able to do that. It's a scary time to do it,
Right.
but, you know, when it feels good to buy investments, that's typically the worst time. When it makes you sick to your stomach to make an investment, which it did me when I they accepted my offer on that building, is the time that you need to do it. We don't know what the future is going to have, but
Right.
you're much better off when nobody thinks you're going to make money at it.
Right.
So,
Well, my house has been on the market 11 months, been shown one time. And I just said, if it's God's will for that house to sell, it would have sold by now. So maybe I need to hang out there. You know, I love the place. I love the location. It is 17 minutes to work in the direction away from traffic. There's no traffic on, what do you call that road? The highway.
Highway
The
515.
highway.
Highway 5.
So, you know, sometimes God has a bigger plan than we do. And when you did this, you jumped out. Because
Yeah.
you had to do some stuff even to this new building you bought.
Yeah, we
Were you
did.
nervous about spending that money?
Oh yeah, I mean, I had a client come home from a trip and saw that I was at the office at 12:30 one night, and they called me the next morning and said, "What are you doing there?" I said, "I'm scared to pay anybody else to do it. When I clock out at the office, I'm going over there to do it." So yeah, I mean, it was. But Holly and I prayed about it a lot, and you know, when I realized that the deal was coming through, I didn't sleep for 2 or 3 nights because I said, you know, here I'm, you know, putting my head on the chopping block if things
Right.
go bad, but. You know, like I said before, when businesses that start during this period of time, I had gone over all the details. I looked at it. I gone through worst case scenario
I'd
plans.
say you overanalyzed
I
it.
overanalyze everything, but I overanalyze that to the point, and I just had to sit back and say, you know, this I feel very comfortable with, and unless the world comes to an end, you know, you can't plan for everything. You just
Right.
have to plan reasonably and make wise choices. And when they accepted my offer, it was, you know, I said, okay, Lord, I'm not going to. You know, I'm going to trust that your hand's here, and I'm going to go because we need the space.
Yeah.
And it works out really good. And the bad thing is I had a client come in and goes, wow, the building looks great. All we did was paint, put carpet in,
Yeah.
and pull out stuff. So
Not
the
a big
remodel
deal.
took a while, but it wasn't, you know, a hugely expensive thing to do. So
Maybe you and the eye doctor can go in business together. The people, your clients, can see better when they come in and see the numbers.
Well, the difference is I had a 10-foot projection screen at the other office. In the new office, I just didn't have the space to do that. So we do need something to see our projection screen, our TV, a little bit better than before. So anyway, that's, you know, bringing up, talking about real estate, what you were coming to there, to finish up, that building's not mine. I've had a lot of questions about that.
Oh, yeah. A lot of people are going,
And frankly, I hope that the construction is over very quickly
'Cause it is noisy.
because yesterday they were driving through, they were actually digging a trench for the water and sewer, and my whole building shook, and I thought, oh, the brick's going to come off the side of the building. The building was built in 1950,
Oh,
so I said,
yeah,
it's just
yeah.
waiting to fall off.
Oh,
I walked out there and said, what are you doing? They said, oh, we had a nice little rock vein, must run under your building. So anyway,
Oh,
I'm ready
gosh.
for the construction to be over, but it'll
Yeah.
be nice when it's done.
What's his projected opening date?
I have no idea. I've been so busy with getting moved in and trying to set up. That was the hardest thing I've ever done. We've moved houses. Holly and I built a few houses, lived in them and sold them, and we'd move in and live there for 6 months before we'd hang a picture. So I thought desks and filing cabinets, all a piece of cake. Oh, that was the worst thing I've ever done in my life, because you have to be operational. We moved and we're operational in one day.
Yeah, wow.
And but we had people coming in and out of there like crazy. But talking about property, one thing that you need to do, and I've been stressing this, okay, we need to talk about the scenarios of what's going to take place economically. Refinance your mortgages. If you have anything that is adjustable rate, you know, I had a phone call from Travis Key the other day, and he said that rates are down to 4.4% again, and I think he said for 30 years.
Okay, but who do you have to be to get a loan? Because you and I talked about
Right.
this. I've had 5 people try to buy something. All 5 people, good credit, down payment, couldn't buy squat.
Right.
So who are they loaning money to?
Well,
who can get it at 4.4%?
Essentially, if they're loaning money, they want the banks want money down. And I've had clients who've walked in and put money down on offers that were 30 cents on the dollar, and the bank took the offers because they had offers for 70 cents on the dollar with no money down.
Okay. Is it bank property that banks are holding that they want to get rid of? Is that what is getting these 4.4% loans?
No, not necessarily. I mean, if
Okay.
you've got enough equity in the house, which that's the problem. You know, a lot of people don't. You know, they made 100% financing in 2007. I really don't like the way that the banking laws are set up right now. It just doesn't make a lot of sense, because if you have distressed sales for 30 cents on the dollar, you know, that's not necessarily really reflective of what the price is. And I mean, I know you can argue that and say it's worth what somebody's willing to pay, but we all know a distressed sale out of fear is not what the reasonable market value would be.
Look at the newspapers. Look at the newspapers.
Full of them.
And then all of a sudden you have a banking environment to where the banks can't loan based on the appraisal. You know, so there's something that's got to be fixed there. But, you know, there are clients out there, and I know they're not up to here in debt, and I know that they have fairly stable income streams coming in, or jobs, and they're able to refinance their mortgages for really good rates. Now, on the other hand, if you're able to purchase a new piece of property and you don't own something right now, or you own something that you can rent out and have cash flowed or something of that nature, then you can get really attractive terms right now. I mean, they're pushing rates down. The Fed's trying to keep rates as low as possible, and they are artificially low. Now, the problem is, the longer that they keep those rates low, and this is why I'm harping, if you have adjustable rate notes on a mortgage, and you can find a way to lock that in on a 30-year, because we're at 50-year low on rates. And basically what it is it's, I know a lot of people out there swam before, and you're a kid, you take a basketball and hold it under the water. Well, you hold that basketball under the water, which is what they're doing to interest rates right now. At some point, when they stop artificially holding them low, it's going to bounce, and it's going to bounce very hard. So we think that rates, you know, especially if the economy is improving, rates are going to have to go up. So lock in, refinance if you can do that. The second thing is if you're a business owner or you have commercial property, and I don't know that you're going to be able to do this, but you need to lock it in as long as possible.
Right.
You know.
That 2.5-year balloon kills people.
Yes.
That
No kidding.
2.5-year balloon, and
Yeah.
you know this. You know this. We started with a loan that was like 6-point-something%. This was years ago. It ended up at 13 3/4, $526,000. I ended up paying back $966,000. 13 3/4%. Now that stinks. That stinks. If we get back to that, we are dead.
Right.
We are dead. So,
Well, I'll say this on the other hand. Traditionally, you would think that. But if we go to 15% in rates, and you can actually borrow money, that'd be better than 2%
Not
rates
borrowing
that you
money.
can't
Well,
get.
you're right.
You know
You're
what I mean?
right.
So the thing is a lot of investors don't want to loan their capital out for 5 and 7 years, because they know that if the economy improves,
They can get more.
then rates are going to go higher. So the artificially, if the market was dictating rates be low, then people would be loaning money because they feel comfortable doing it. If
Right.
rates were to go up, we would probably have a little bit looser capital system than what we do right now. That's just my humble opinion. But you know, if somebody could loan 10% on a house, and an investor felt comfortable loaning their money out like that, then money would be available. The problem is the money supply is shrinking fairly dramatically right now. There's huge amounts of cash on the sideline. People are sitting on cash. because we are in a very uncertain period.
Nervous.
Yes.
Nervous. Folks are still nervous. Let me ask you a question I've never asked you, and I've never even thought about this. It just almost blew through my head. Lord, be careful what blows through my head. How do you feel about fair tax, IRS, or a fair tax? How do you feel about that?
You know,
I've never asked you that question.
Unfortunately, 4 years ago, I could have answered a lot about what the fair tax system is, but I have spent...
Which is basically a national sales tax?
National sales
tax, as I
tax,
understand
yes.
it? Okay.
If that's, you know, I've had clients say things to me that were confusing to me what I thought the fair tax system was, and what I mean by that is 4 years ago, I had time to read that. That was 2006, 2007. Our complete focus 24 hours a day has been client portfolio risk management, making sure people were prepared for what we thought was going to be a downturn, and then getting them through the downturn that we've been here. So I don't know much outside of
Paul,
what I
have
do
we been in
anymore.
it 3 years? Have we been in
yeah.
this downturn 3 years?
3 years ago in November, the Dow was 14,000.
We are $1,475,000 down from where we were 2.5 years ago. $1,475,000 a year.
Right.
Down from where we were. And that, you know, that's scary. That's
The
very
thing I
scary.
like about the fair tax, sales tax system, is if you were to do away, what I'm concerned about is if we get both. If you get a
We don't
major
want both.
national sales tax
We don't want
and an
both.
income tax, because we're taxed to death in all the other different areas. If you add them up, it's tremendous. So I like the fair tax because if you're a young couple and you come out and start, and as my father always told me, he said most marriages fail for financial problems to begin with than they do anything. And you're not buying a lot of things, you can save. You're not paying taxes on that. Now, once you get up to the point where you're able to spend and you can afford to spend, then you're paying taxes at your level of consumption. I really like that because basically if you've got a drug dealer who's dealing in cash, and I don't know if they do or not, but you know, if they buy things in cash, they're going to pay taxes on it. You know, so I like the national sales tax system. I think more importantly going forward from a national sales tax system is unfortunately at some point in our lifetime we're going to see the U.S. dollar replaced as the world's reserve currency. That's not getting a lot of headline right now, but the lenders of the world are concerned about our fiscal irresponsibility as a country. And one thing that puts
Are we
us...
spoiled?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Really
I mean,
bad. Yeah.
We consume somewhere between 40 to 60%, depending on who you talk to, of the world's capital. Well, they're working hard manufacturing things and doing without so that we can not work hard and do with. Don't get me wrong, we're working
yeah.
hard. All of us are working hard that
yeah,
can.
Yeah.
But it's the way that the system's set up. So if the dollar replaces the world's reserve currency, then inflation is going to be a pretty severe thing, and I completely lost where I was going with that. Maybe you can bring me back to it.
About the taxes, about
the
fair
taxes,
tax,
but
yeah.
see, you know, that takes international dollars who are buying goods here. They'll have a reason to recycle those dollars back into the U.S., and then we can make sure that we get some tax revenues on that.
Well, you and I talked earlier before the show, if you do go to a world currency, where does hard assets such as gold, silver, platinum come into play?
Right. Well, one of the things that I want to say about where we are now is, first of all, before I get into anything, I want to make this statement. Most people do not have a disciplined investment strategy. And if they do, it lasts about 30 days, okay? If you're following a disciplined investment strategy, and the 2000 to 2002 downturn, and the 2008 to 2009 42% decline, you know, in the market did not materially derail your investment strategy, then don't listen to anything I have to say at this point, okay? But if you've jumped from strategy to strategy and you're just confused and you know, the market's had this massive rally up, here's where we are. We're in a big yellow box, okay? The market's got to have some time, and the economic numbers have to have some time to tell us whether we're going back into a double-dip recession, which is a possibility, okay?
Shut up. Bill,
look,
where's that knife I'm cutting that tomato
this is
with?
all I'm saying. Realistically,
Okay.
it's a possibility. Now, it's not a high probability. And when I talk about possibility and probability is plane could fall out of the sky right now.
Right.
Okay, that's possibility. Anything's possibility.
Right.
But if this building was at the very dead end of the runway, it becomes a probability that at some point the plane's going to hit it.
Yeah.
So you have to consider that. Now, the other thing is we have to look at the economy and say, you know, we've been going up this steep hill with the economic recovery, kind of like a rubber band that was stretched out and comes back to normal. And there's a normal cooling off period that has to take place, and that's what we're seeing in the economic numbers. Now, there's a lot of confusion institutionally and with individual investors because everybody's waiting to see what's going to happen. You know, So if the 08 to 09 decline materially derailed your investment strategy, then you need to reassess your portfolio and be cautious and say, how am I going to handle it if the market goes to 5,000 on the Dow? I don't know if that's going to happen.
Shut
But,
up.
okay.
Don't
look,
even say those
I'm
words.
throwing numbers out there because there's arguments that are there
I know.
to say that can't
What is
happen.
it today? Because I haven't looked in 10 days.
We
I
jumped up over 10,000
okay,
yesterday.
Okay.
So
I think people feel good when it goes above 10,000.
Right.
I don't know what it is, but there's that mark that people just, you see them out
Psychological
eating
numbers.
again, and you see
Right.
them, you
Fuel's
know,
still too
buying
high.
more than 3 gallons of gas. Yeah.
So the next thing that you have to look at is manufacturing is great in the U.S. If you have a manufacturing business, you're doing wonderful. But
It is
you are
amazing.
by far the minority
Yeah.
because our political leaders, even locally, regionally, don't seem to be too interested in recruiting manufacturing. And I think that is incredibly important to bring in.
Trucking is busy today
Right.
because the Jasper Rubber Plant, which was the Jasper Rubber Plant, what's the name of it now? Golly. Anyway, Melissa was over in, across the
Oh,
street from
yeah,
us.
Lexington.
Lexington. Very, very busy.
Yes.
They are super busy. That is amazing. That is a manufacturer in Jasper, Georgia. They are running them trucks in and out. They're like, dun, dun, dun. It's great.
It
It's
is great.
That is great for Jasper. It put a lot of dollars back into our, the banks are even seeing the drive-throughs are busy at the
Yes.
bank again. That is the coolest sight to see people getting their checks on Friday and running to the drive-through at the bank.
Yes.
So very positive looking.
So that's very positive. Now, let's assume that we have a normal cool off. Markets worked out this risk issue and the economy continues to expand fairly dramatically. Now, there's some risks to this, but it's a possibility. Now, what's going to happen? Interest rates are going to go up, okay? Interest rates going up are going to cause some digestion issues economically. What's that going to do to housing? So we're at a point where it's not going to be quite so easy where that basketball as a market just jumps straight up. So you have to reassess the risk in your portfolio. And, if you don't have a strategy, to manage risk, if the Dow goes to 5,000, you're making a mistake. If you don't have a strategy to participate, if economic growth continues and the Dow goes to 14,000, you're making a mistake. And ignorance is bliss until you realize that you are ignorant. So, and I'm not saying that investors are ignorant. There's times where I make decisions, I look at that and go, what the heck was I thinking? And I was way too conservative. So, but right now is a time where you need to be conservative, you need to reduce your debt, you need to look at long-term issues and say, hey, if I can lock my mortgage in at 4.5% and rates 7 years from now are 12%, it's the best financial decision that you could have possibly
Right,
made.
right.
So you need to look at those things. The risks on the horizon, either a cooling off turns into a double-dip recession. It's too early to tell whether that's going to happen. We don't think that that's a high probability, but there's a lot of fear out there, and investors are acting on that fear. Or a continued expansion with rates going up. So you have to be ready. It's just going to take time before we really know. The second thing is tax cuts are ready to expire. We're talking a lot about fiscal
What
responsibility.
about this $8,000 tax break for purchasers? Is that still going on? A lot of the realtors were talking about that. Is
Isn't
that still?
awful? I don't have a clue.
Okay. Well,
It's my
Is it
understanding-
a first-time buyer?
First-time buyer.
$8,000? Yeah.
It's my
break.
understanding that it's expired.
Okay.
So,
okay. I think that may have helped, though. I think it helped.
Yeah, because I read a report the other day, and I'm not sure, so I could be wrong on this, but they were talking about home sales were declining, new home purchases due to the fact that the tax credits were gone.
Okay.
So it's my understanding they are gone.
Okay.
We've got state budget issues on the horizon.
Oh, wow.
Illinois.
Do we ever?
The Wall Street Journal was talking about the fact that Illinois, can a state file bankruptcy? Some of them are just stopping, not paying their bills.
Yeah.
And
The
so
state of California can't pay their light bill. I
Right.
mean, think about it. Wow. That's
So you've
scary.
got the elections this fall. So there's a lot of fiscal uncertainty now. Now I do think that we're going to have another deflation scare at some point within the next 12 to 15 months. But I do not believe that our political leaders are strong enough to go through the fiscal responsibility and the pain that that's going to bring about. I think the path of least resistance is to try to inflate our way through, because inflation is a good thing if you own interest rates. You don't want, if you own real estate with debt, or if you have debt, because what you don't want to have is all the assets that you have go down 50%, your debt stays here. That's hard.
We just had an appraisal, and it appraised at $147,000 less than I paid on the tax bill this year. So in a year, $147,000 down. That was tough to swallow.
Right.
That was tough to swallow.
So when the political leaders look at the huge amounts of debt that we have, then the easiest thing is to try to take that asset, here's your debt, and try to take that asset that's now here and see if you can get it to there. If that's your whole focus, that's great if you owe $150,000 on a piece of property that's now worth $600,000. But if the cost of Campbell's soup went from $2 a can to $10 a can, are you really better off? On one hand, you are. The banks are better off because their collateral's worth more. But we as individuals, if you're on a fixed income budget, is devastating. So that's the reason I say, I have people who are concerned about the end of the world as we know it, and they want to take a bunch of cash and stuff it under the mattress at home. I think that's a terrible decision.
No, it is a terrible
Put it in jars in the backyard would be better.
Yeah.
No, it's not. When you
gold and
die,
silver.
your family can't even find it.
Now, let's get back to gold and silver.
Yeah, so gold and silver, I think, based on what we're looking at from a technical perspective and some of the trends that will take place over the next 5 to 7 years, are going to continue to be good investments. But right now, you're going to have to be willing to go on a roller coaster ride because they're going to go up a lot, they're going to go down a lot, but basically all gold and silver is the ability to protect against inflation because they're limited in value. The people who are really concerned about taking a huge amount of money, just cashing it out, saying, I don't want financial planning, I don't want fiscal responsibility, I'm concerned that, the world's going to come to an end. Well, buy a lot of food, buy a lot of ammo, and
Sit back, yeah.
and sit back, because food's the most important thing, and throughout history, food's really been the core of wealth. But, as I was telling people, gold and silver is a good insurance policy because there's no bad financial management with gold. You can buy Southern Company, and I think utilities are a great long-term investment because people are going to pay their power bill. But if you have a corrupt manager, and I'm not making a recommendation on Southern Company, that just came to mind. Live TV can get you in trouble.
Oh, yeah, it can.
So,
You can.
but if you have a corrupt manager, a company can go under, due to poor financial management in a great sector. Now, what's going to happen is somebody else is going to come in and buy them, and the new investors are going to do okay. But when you have gold, and the reason why investors like them from a fear standpoint is there's no poor management that goes with it. It's limited in supply, and it's marketable in multiple countries. So you can sell it in other currencies if our country was to fail, which,
Gold's kind of like your family dog. It likes you either way. I mean,
And it's relative. That's the argument that I make. If you have $1 million in gold and the cost of living goes down 50%, and it goes to $500,000, well, it buys just as many goods. That's the important thing, and that's what I keep trying to bring into individuals. I've had meetings with people who retired in 1990. They had no inflation protection in their plan. 100% of their portfolio was all in one investment strategy, which was CDs. They were getting 7% then. Today they're getting 2%. Well, over 20 years, you've probably outlived your roof, more than likely, your refrigerator. If you've not had a rise in income or assets to offset some of those things that you have to continue to do, you're in pretty bad shape right now.
Some of those people are working at Walmart and McDonald's.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the truth. That is sad, but I know some of those.
So as I tell
stories.
everybody, if you've got to find a strategy and stick to that strategy. And just because it's raining outside, you don't stop the strategy. And just because the strategy underperforms. There's times where, I hate to use Tiger Woods, this is awful, but there's times where he didn't win every golf tournament, but he came right back after that. Every strategy will underperform. You have to stick to a disciplined investment strategy, know the risks, know the weaknesses, and plow through that way. But, and that's the reason why I say you've got to reassess your portfolio. You've got to look at risk and say, what if the Dow went to 5,000? Well, I'll be comfortable with the investments that I own. If the answer is no, you need to seek professional help. If you don't know how to make the decision to say, where's my stop loss point? Okay, if the market goes higher, are my investments the ones that'll do that? What if interest rates go up? I really don't like any bonds that mature over 5 years. If you're stuck with a 4% rate for 30 years, companies refinanced when rates were 20% to 12% to 10%. An investment salesman's going to tell you, oh, don't worry, they've always refinanced in 5 years. Well, if rates go to 10, 12%, do you really think they're going to buy back that 4% from you?
I don't think
No,
so.
I
they're
think
not
I'll
going to.
invest in antacids
Well,
because this kind of stuff will give you
a headache. Well, I've got something
heartburn.
I've got to invest in. I've got 300 pounds of platinum sitting here. And we've got to introduce that platinum to our audience. So as much as I love you, and as
yes.
much as people love what
300
we do,
pounds of
I get a
platinum?
lot of positive comments when you're here.
Well, I appreciate the opportunity
folks
to be
are
here.
looking at what you talk about, and they're paying attention to it. So how can we tell them to get in touch with you?
Feel free to call me at 706-253-7285.
Okay.
And it's funny, the guy who gave me the number at ETC, 7285, is actually Paul. Do not
That is funny.
tell anybody that.
That is
253
funny.
Paul.
That is funny.
I don't like that.
That's
But
funny.
7285 is what it is.
That's
So.
funny. Well, we're going to take a break and go to the community calendar while Bill and I run over here to make an over-the-sink tomato sandwich. And then when we come back, I'm going to have about 300 pounds of platinum sitting here.
That's worth a lot of money.
You will see something that is so valuable. It is 61 years old. It is a 61-year-old treasure. And I think when you meet these two globs of platinum, you will be very impressed with today's guest. We'll be back in just a minute.